The film opens in the mountains of northern Portugal, inside a secluded villa at night. Here we meet Amelia, a single mother raising twin boys. She mixes a strange medicine into their milk, yet both children seem happy. That evening, two strangers, a man and a woman, break into the villa. The woman waits outside in their car while the man sneaks in. He kidnaps one of the twins and heads toward the car. When he tries to grab the second child, Amelia catches him. A struggle follows, and though we don't see exactly what happens, Amelia manages to save her son. She chases after the car, screaming, but the woman drives away with the other twin. Later, the woman abandons the kidnapped boy in front of a parking lot, suggesting she never intended to raise him herself. The story then jumps 31 years later to New York City. We meet Edward, who grew up as a foster child. He's actually the same boy kidnapped from Amelia's villa long ago. Now an adult, Edward lives an ordinary life with his girlfriend, Riley, who loves him deeply. Yet, one wish has always haunted him: to find his real family. Edward had once asked the Woodland foster home for help tracing his roots, but they failed. On his birthday, Riley gives him a thoughtful gift, an ancestry DNA kit. She knows how much this means to him. Edward submits his DNA, though the results will take some time. The next morning, the system reveals a match. Someone out there shares his bloodline, possibly a brother. The discovery overwhelms Edward. He suffers what seems like a panic attack, imagining a frightening figure in the bathroom corner. Shaken, he tells Riley and then reaches out to the person his DNA matched with. Edward soon learns the truth. He has a twin brother named Manuel. Their mother had always said one of her sons was kidnapped as a child, so there was no doubt that Edward was the missing boy. Manuel and his mother live in Portugal, at the same villa shown at the beginning of the film. Determined to reunite, Edward decides to visit them, and Riley insists on joining him. Together, they travel from New York to northern Portugal. The region is stunning and peaceful, but something feels unsettling. When GPS fails, they stop to ask directions from an old couple selling vegetables by the roadside. As soon as Riley shows them a photo of the villa, the couple becomes alarmed and urges them to leave immediately. Confused but pressed for time, Edward and Riley continue their journey and eventually reach the villa. There, Manuel greets them warmly. To their shock, he looks exactly like Edward, proving beyond doubt they are twins. Manuel hugs Edward tightly and invites them inside. The house is large, elegant, and filled with expensive art. Edward admires a portrait of his mother, while Riley remarks on her beauty. Manuel also shows them an old painting of their grandmother, created by a famous artist. It's clear this is a wealthy family. Edward feels at home, though he still hasn't met his mother. Manuel explains that she is unwell and not ready to see visitors just yet. That first night, Edward has a disturbing dream. In bed, he looks over, and instead of Riley, he sees the face of his young mother, which terrifies him. He wakes to find Manuel standing there, telling him their mother is finally ready to meet. When Edward sees Amelia, he is shocked. Her face is covered with obvious surgical procedures, giving her a strange appearance. Still, Edward embraces her, overwhelmed to finally meet his mother. Amelia, too, is overjoyed to have her lost son back. The next morning, Edward tells Riley about the encounter, and she finds the surgeries unsettling. Later, while Riley sketches Manuel's pets, Amelia joins her. They chat, and Riley learns Amelia once lived in America. When Riley asks about the history of the villa, Amelia avoids the subject. As Riley prepares to step out, Amelia compliments her lips, an oddly uncomfortable remark. That night, things turn even stranger. Riley overhears Amelia and Manuel together in bed, speaking about having children. The disturbing implication shocks Riley. who later confides in Edward. Though troubled, he doesn't fully know what to think. The following morning, as Riley practices yoga, Amelia secretly watches her through a window, smiling. Later that day, Amelia gathers her lawyers. To everyone's surprise, she wants to transfer half of her massive fortune, about 65 million euros, to Edward, even though he has only just arrived. Out of loyalty to his mother, Edward signs the documents. Even more unsettling, Amelia introduces Edward as her new boyfriend, not her son. After Edward signs the papers, Amelia warns him not to tell Riley about the inheritance. Wanting to please his mother, Edward agrees. Meanwhile, Riley calls her friend Jay, sharing how strange the villa feels. To her, the house is more like a museum than a home. While exploring, she discovers a chest filled with old family photos. The images look unsettling. Nothing about them feels normal. That night, Manuel wanders into the forest, chanting an eerie song. Back at the villa, Riley experiences a terrifying dream. She sees a shadowy figure inside the house, follows it, and suddenly the figure grabs her hand. In another part of the dream, she watches Amelia rifling through her suitcase, examining her undergarments. Riley wakes with a start, only to find her suitcase really is open. The next day, Riley takes a walk and calls her friend again. She admits something about this family feels very wrong, and she has no intention of staying any longer. Her friend advises her to talk openly with Edward. Meanwhile, Edward searches for Riley when he notices a shed nearby. Its door creaks open by itself, and from inside, he hears the faint cry of a child. Curious and uneasy, he steps in, only to find a man chained to the wall. Terrified, Edward shuts his eyes, but when he looks again, the figure has vanished. Shaken, he tells Manuel what he saw. Strangely, Manuel insists this is normal. He too is haunted by visions and says they must simply learn to control them. To help, Manuel slips something into Edward's tea and asks him to close his eyes. Suddenly, Manuel's eyes turn white and Edward is pulled into disturbing visions. When he opens his eyes, he sees Riley, but in an instant, she morphs into Manuel. It's all a hallucination. Edward panics while Manuel laughs, saying they possess a special power inside them and there's no need to fear it. Back at the villa, Riley urges Edward that they need to leave this place before things get worse. Riley tells Edward these people are strange and will never truly be his family. Edward lashes out, insulting her, which leaves Riley heartbroken. She warns him that if he won't leave, she'll go alone the next day. Unbeknownst to them, Amelia overhears everything. The next day, Riley again calls her friend, explaining she has been digging for answers. She's discovered disturbing legends about Portuguese witches, but Edward refuses to hear any criticism of his family. Unsure what to do, Riley follows her instincts and seeks out Vieira, a local woman she suspects knows the truth. Vieira invites Riley into her home and shows her old photographs. In them is a man who looks exactly like Edward and Manuel. Vieira explains he was Arthur, Amelia's husband, and the woman beside him was Vieira's daughter. The two had fallen in love, and her daughter claimed Amelia was a witch who stayed young through dark rituals. According to Vieira's daughter, Amelia practiced a dark ritual. She used her own sons in disturbing ways, forcing them to give her children. Only the boys were allowed to live, while any daughters were taken away, since they were of no use to her. Through this twisted cycle, Amelia was able to keep herself young and seemingly immortal. Vieira reveals that Arthur himself was raised as Amelia's son, twisted into her cycle of control. He and Vieira's daughter once tried to escape with Amelia's children to break the ritual, but they never returned. This confirms that the man and woman in the opening scene were Arthur and Vieira's daughter attempting to save the twins. Shaken by these revelations, Riley returns to the villa that night. To her horror, she finds Edward happily celebrating with Amelia and Manuel. They laugh, dance, and enjoy themselves as if nothing is wrong. Edward insists Riley join them on the dance floor, but she is unsettled by the disturbing family dynamic. Riley refuses to give in and urges Edward to leave with her. Seeing this, Amelia bursts into tears, accusing Riley of trying to take her sons away. Riley doesn't respond and storms outside, only to find her car blocked. Manuel had parked his own vehicle across the exit. Determined, Riley takes Edward to meet Vieira so he'll finally believe the truth. But when they arrive, Vieira's house is empty. Desperate, Riley sneaks in through a window, searching for answers. Inside, she finds photographs and tells Edward about his father's connection to Amelia. But Edward refuses to believe her. Exhausted, Riley decides she must leave alone, though she still hopes Edward will come to his senses. Riley asks Manuel to move his car. He casually says he already did, allowing her to pack her things and head toward the vehicle. Before leaving, she tells Edward she'll wait for him in the car. Once Riley is gone, Manuel informs Edward that Amelia wants to see him. Edward finds his mother waiting with tea, already laced with her strange medicine. As he drinks, Amelia smiles with unsettling satisfaction. Meanwhile, Riley powers on her phone and receives a message from the genetic testing company. To her shock, the results confirm a horrifying truth. The family shows clear signs of inbreeding. Terrified, Riley tries to escape through the garage, but instead stumbles upon Vieira's lifeless body. Before she can react, Manuel arrives. Panicking, Riley hides in a corner with a shovel. When Manuel finds her, she strikes, but he wrestles it away and nearly strangles her. In desperation, Riley grabs a hammer and smashes his leg, giving her just enough time to slip through a hidden door. Meanwhile, Edward returns to his room after meeting Amelia. He feels weak and dazed, his mind clouded. Suddenly, Riley appears by his side, comforting him. But something feels wrong. It isn't Riley at all, but Amelia using her powers to disguise herself. Back in the hidden passage, Riley flees as Manuel chases her with a wild, frenzied look in his eyes. The tunnel leads to the same shed where Edward once saw a chained figure. This time, Riley finds him for real, a man left to rot for years, shackled in misery. He is Arthur, Amelia's husband and son, whom she imprisoned long ago. Barely alive, Arthur begs Riley to help him. Riley is horrified when she sneaks back into the villa and discovers Amelia with Edward. He isn't fully conscious, clearly trapped under Amelia's spell, while she takes advantage of his weakened state. Seeing this, Riley is horrified. For the first time, she fully understands Amelia's true nature, how monstrous and terrifying her actions toward her sons really are. After Amelia leaves, Riley desperately tries to wake Edward and drag him away, but they first need to escape Manuel, who is frantically hunting for her. Hiding with a hammer, Riley waits until he comes close, then strikes him on the head. Manuel collapses, injured, as Riley seizes the chance to carry Edward downstairs. But Edward is still barely aware of his surroundings. Just then, Amelia appears, screaming in shock as she sees Manuel lying on the ground. Riley drags Edward toward the exit, but Amelia suddenly appears, moving with a strength that seems impossible for someone who looked frail just a day before. She clings to Manuel's body in tears, then spots Riley trying to escape. Furious, Amelia lunges at her with a knife. Riley braces for the end, but at the last moment, Arthur arrives. Freed with Riley's help, he attacks Amelia, giving Riley the chance to flee. Struggling to pull the half-conscious Edward, she reaches her car and drives away for good. Back inside, Amelia fights Arthur viciously, stabbing him again and again until he collapses. Though Arthur dies, his sacrifice allows Riley and Edward to survive. Amelia, broken and weeping, crawls back to Manuel's side. In the closing scene, Amelia is shown young once again, holding a newborn son. She then dances with Manuel, revealing the chilling truth: her ritual worked. By seducing Edward under her spell, she restored her youth and gave birth to a new child. The cycle will eventually repeat as she plans to use this boy when he grows older, just as she has always done. But the ending raises unsettling questions. If Amelia's ritual truly worked, why did she grow old in the first place? Perhaps Manuel was unable to father children, leaving her weakened and desperate for a son. That may also explain why she kept Arthur locked away. By then, he was too old to serve her purpose. Only Edward, her stolen child, had the vitality she needed to regain her youth.